and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. Please be seated. Remember to silence your cell phones if you brought them. Due to a closed session earlier today, the second item on our agenda is citizen concerns. Is there anyone who has a concern on an item that's not already on the agenda? Hearing none, I'll move approval of the agenda. Item 3.
Second.
Second by Taylor. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Passes 4-0. Items 4 through 8 constitute a consent agenda of routine action items to be considered by one motion. Items pass unanimously unless a separate vote is requested by a board member. Item 4 is approval of the minutes of the October 3rd meeting. Item 5 is approval of the claims. Item 6 from the county auditor is to receive the auditor's quarterly report for the quarter ending September 30th. Item 7 from Human Resources includes the approval of memorandum of personnel transactions, which includes the retirement of the Human Resources Director. Item 8 from Secondary Roads, County Engineer Mark Nera, is consideration of a permit for use of the county right-of-way for an underground utility for Northwest Rural Electric Cooperative. I'll move the consent agenda.
Second.
Second by DeWitt. Discussion.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
I just want to say a few words in appreciation of Ed Gilliland's time as Director of Human Resources and many ways that he's helped to move forward the Human Resources Department.
Thank you. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Passes 4-0. We have 2 minutes before our set time. I'd invite Amanda Harper up for item 10. Just a couple minutes, though. We'll have to get to a property sale in a couple minutes. So this is a Housing Trust Fund match and funding allocation for information. Welcome.
Thank you. So before I get to that, I just wanted to give a quick rundown of where we're at in our current grant cycle. So far in Woodbury County, we've done 2 homes, one in Mobile and one in Sloan, and we're at $35,742 spent in Woodbury County out of Housing Trust Fund. We should have 1 more project left this year in Woodbury County, provided we get an applicant in. So spread the word, we need applicants for Woodbury County. Now to the point on why I'm here tonight. The board is looking, the Housing Trust Fund board is looking at changing the way our funding is allocated. Currently, we get it from Iowa Finance Authority, or IFA, and we get a base amount of $150,000 and then a per capita amount of, for this funding round 2018-19, it'll be $1.50 per capita. And we're looking at moving going forward into distributing the funds that way. So did you all get this chart in your packets?
Yep.
Okay. So Woodbury County, your per capita amount would be $29,232. We would divide the base amount evenly among the 5 counties, so each county would get $30,000. So your total award from IFA would be just over $59,000. For this funding round, your required match would be $14,808, which normally I think we were getting $15,000. So for this round, it's a little bit less for you guys. And your total funds would be just over $74,000. I'm just seeking comment on the way that we're moving or looking at moving to the disbursement on funds and dispersing it how it's given to us in the per capita amount.
Any comments?
Previously, let me say we were just dispersing it evenly among the 5 counties, or as evenly as possible.
Yeah. Thank you very much. When you calculate Woodbury County's population here, how is that population gathered?
Excluding the city of Sioux City population.
Okay. And is that typical where the cities are normally excluded in other counties?
The entitlement cities are, yes. So that's how IFA gives it to us. Sioux City gets their own pot of money from Iowa Finance Authority.
Okay. And is that the same case like in Lamar's or another?
No, Lamar's is not considered an entitlement city. They're included in the Plymouth County population.
Okay. So would there, in your mind, be any concern on Woodbury County's?
No, Woodbury County is pretty much one of those ones that's middle of the road. The biggest effect it's going to have is Ida County and Plymouth County. Plymouth County's share will go up a little bit, and Ida County's will go down. But the match amount will also reflect that as well.
When previous to this, you said we're at about 15,000?
Yep.
So we're not really.
Yeah, there's no real adverse effect for Woodbury County, but I just wanted to make sure I got comment from every county before.
Yeah. Well, I'm appreciative of the work, and it's one of those I was recently asked when we were talking. This issue raises its head every once in a while on nonprofits, and the fact that this is something that has a real and seismic effect on people's lives and leverages other funds, which is kind of our twofold criteria. I think it's a good thing to continue to support.
And to the change, per capita is probably easier to, defend and explain. So I don't have a problem with it.
Okay, so I'm here in Woodbury County's in support of the change. Thank you so much for your time, and I will see you in January to ask for that $14,808.
Yeah.
Thank you. We'll move back to item 9, our 4:35 set time from the public bidder. This is a public hearing and sale of property parcel ending in 7004. The public hearing is now open for anyone to comment for or against the sale of this property.
Hearing none, Mr. Chair, I move that the public hearing be closed.
Second the motion by Taylor. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Passes 4-0. Now, Heather, this is a direct sale. You can see on the back of materials why. It's only usable to one person and one person's driveway. So I would move be sold to James and Connie Buckingham for $1 plus recording fees.
Second.
Second by Radig. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Passes 4-0. Item 11 from Human Resources, Director Ed Gilliland, includes item A for information. Approval of contractual agreement with Innovative Business Consultants for flexible spending administration. It appears the board office, when switching A and B, did not switch information and action.
Is my question's a parliamentarian procedural one. Is the fact that A denotes approval as an action sufficient enough to be able to take action?
Thank you. Sorry, Ed.
It's all right. It's okay. This is approval of a contract. We've already approved the action. Abby's reviewed the contract, and she recommended changes. They made the changes, and they're in your backup material.
I'd move it.
Second.
Radig will second the motion by Taylor. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Passes 4-0. Item B then for information is presentation of an award certificate to Mark Nera. Mr. Nera, please come forward. Ed, would you give this to our esteemed county engineer? It is for 4 hours of paid time off for donating a lot of blood. And come up and tell us how you feel.
After losing that much blood, I'm surprised he's
I'm just
standing.
fine. It was about 2 weeks ago, and but yeah, I've been donating for a lot of years to Siouxland and prior to this. So.
Okay, well, we thank you.
That's a lot of cookies, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. They got rid of my favorites too. So
And you stopped giving since then.
no, I'm still going. So.
Well, now that you're up here, we might as well go to item 12, which is your action items. Start Starting with A, accept and approve proposal for 220th Street Seal Coat project.
As you remember, we tried to let this as a single project with base reclamation and seal coat. We didn't have any bidders for that project. We went out and beat the bushes for both base reclamation and seal coat contractors. Last week you approved the base reclamation proposal. This week I'm bringing the seal coat proposal to you and recommend we award the work to Blacktop Service Company of Humboldt, Iowa for $64,183.
I'll move that.
Second.
Motion by Raddick, second by Taylor. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Passes 4-0. Item B is approved contract for project number parent L1.
We're anticipating that work will be completed the week of October 24th also. So both contractors are going to be available to get right in and get the work done. The approved contract, digging forward here. This is with Dixon Construction.
Yes.
Total bid price for the project, $145,852.80. This is replacing a short span bridge that is posted for 3 tons on the west side of Cushing. I recommend approval of the contract.
I'll move it.
I'll second.
Motion by Raddick, second by Taylor. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Passes 4-0. Item C is approved contract for project number MHC 17-4.
That project is for the repair of a damaged Hungry Canyons stream channel degradation structure. It was damaged during the storm event we had on June 15th of 2016. The successful bidder was again Dixon Construction for $49,000. I recommend approval of the contract.
I'll move it.
I'll second the motion by Raddick. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Passes 4-0. Item D is to consider approval of resolution to remove stop sign on Allison Avenue.
During the construction at CF Industries, we added additional traffic control on Allison Avenue, 235th Street and 225th Street. We have been reviewing each of the stop sign locations and the speed limits. This is the last adjustment we'll be making post-construction to remove this stop sign at 240th and Allison. This stops southbound traffic that's headed toward the plant. We have westbound traffic coming to the intersection controlled separately. There's no reason to have 2 directions of travel stopping at the traffic levels that are currently in place there.
Move it.
Second.
Motion by Taylor, second by Raddick. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Passes 4-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 13 from Board Administration, Finance Director Dennis Butler, is information to review the minutes of the first joint county-city staff monthly meeting. This is something I asked Dennis to continue on with. In previous years, the board has looked into combined purchasing with the city, and we've come up with some low-hanging fruit like paper. But I hope that over these monthly meetings, the city and the county can find other areas to combine purchases on and save the taxpayers money. So go ahead, Dennis.
Okay, we have included in here on our first monthly meeting, which will be on the first Wednesday of each month at 8:30, over in the City Finance Director's office, which is down at Forkers. We agreed to meet on the first Wednesday. The next meeting, we're going to talk about and discuss possible 2080 agreements for city/county roads. Dave Carney and Mark Narek will be invited to that next meeting, see if there's any possibilities anywhere that can be worked out involving the city and county roads. On the third area, we talked about joint purchasing opportunities, which will make possibly gravel, concrete, ice salt, possible fire and alarm testing, sprinkler systems. That happens every 5 years. And then we're looking at anything else that could possibly come up. And if anybody has any ideas, such as building services may have some, we'll be discussing that. Everything we do talk about will be brought back to the Board of Supervisors and the City Council. There's a discussion on the update was provided on ambulance services through city. A countywide levy was discussed. I said county really hasn't approached this at all, so this would be something brand new to talk about possibly, but for the time being, we're just trying to figure out how they're going to get through it, and then we'll have to figure out how we're going to get through it, possibly through emergency services.
Could we not just offer a contract with the city fire department like we had with SPI to respond to certain county calls?
I think this will be a much larger topic in the future.
Yes.
Mr. Taylor.
Yeah, I was just wondering when they talked about a countywide levy, it wasn't the first thing that would follow on to ambulance service in Sioux City. So I was just wondering what that countywide levy, what that discussion was.
They really didn't get into too much because I really don't know a whole lot about it, what it actually entail, if it cover the townships, the cities, and the city of Sioux City. We didn't get too far involved in that.
Okay.
There's still a lot of questions there, especially with our own Department of Emergency Services.
So how do you move the ball downfield on that issue?
The city's going to have to decide first what they're going to do, and then we will have to discuss it with Gary Brown from Emergency Service, see what proposal he possibly has to potentially increase staff there to cover the rural townships and possibly some of the towns.
One suggestion I might have is during that next meeting, if that's going to be a topic that's, I assume that the agenda's set ahead of time?
Yes, she'll set it up.
Okay, is maybe to bring some staff to be able to have, because we could do that on our own, irrespective of any city-county cooperation, but I just think that if your nose goes an inch above the water to an inch below on a topic like that, that may be helpful, so.
Yep, okay.
Okay.
Yep. We did discuss some overtime rules that they found out. Department of Labor came in. They found out if you have 2 people working dual employment for the city, there is overtime involved. They actually have 7 people. Example would be a person working for the city regularly, and then possibly working Tyson Center, something like that, an extra job. Now they do have to pay overtime. I did check with Ed. We do not have anybody in that situation in the county. At that point in time, I did not know, but I did check with Ed. We don't have anybody in that situation. There was a little bit of discussion just to remind that the Ag Center, eventually that board there will be coming to the Board of Supervisors requesting potentially some loans, which is that we can borrow $10 million a year to a nonprofit 501c3, in which all we do are we're kind of co-signer. We are not responsible in any way, shape, or form for that bond. It's to give them tax exempt status. So far this year, we have not issued any that I can recall, and so that leaves this year and next year open. So they probably will be back, talk to the board, potentially getting some possibly financing in that direction.
Any anticipation of that timeline?
They're going to try to come this year for some, and then next year for a dollar amount. So we'll try
This year, meaning this calendar year or this fiscal?
This calendar year, because this goes $10 million per calendar year. It's not on fiscal, it's per calendar year.
Okay.
So they'd have to come if they want some this year before December.
And have we had any of that bonding capacity
No, it's totally
utilized? Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
There's a possibility that we can help. They did talk a little bit about, I did tell them what the board did do on the $1.5 million for 10 years, that we felt that this year we weren't going to be in construction. They totally agreed. Said we'll start up the process next July 1st for next fiscal year for the 75-75 for our first share of the 10-year program for construction of the Ag Center. They did talk a little bit about the Sioux City Airport, how it's funded. That discussion we'll have to get a little deeper in with them possibly, and they'll have to come back to the Board of Supervisors. There's always been this discussion where the airport is somewhat of a regional airport, And this all came about when they actually dedicated the area down to Dogwood Trail as a certified site, and a comment was made by an individual from the city of Sergeant Bluff saying it's great to have the airport here. Well, that opened the city's eyes a little bit, and this has been discussed in the past. Hey, we're providing an airport for everybody to use with no cost to them at all. So there could be talk, coming back to the board for like the township shares of the rural cities, the rural towns in other states, possibly see if there could be something worked out. That's going to be a long discussion there.
I would just say, stay on topic with the combined purchasing ideas.
Yep.
Some of this is shifting.
Do we have anyone designated outside of Dennis? I noticed that they have their assistant city manager. Do we have a supervisor counterpart that would be willing, like either maybe the chairperson, not to give you an extra meeting, because I know you're not necessarily, or maybe Supervisor Radig, just with his extensive city background. I just thought that might be something to consider to have a.
What day or time do you guys meet?
First Wednesday at 8:30 of the month.
Potential?
You'd be a natural.
They got plenty of Frito-Lays.
They actually have better candy.
So just something that maybe to
Yeah.
consider.
Try and work it out with Keith
Okay.
Radig.
Sounds good.
I
That's
I
all
think
have.
Matthew was not volunteering himself for that.
Mr. Nara?
Just so the board's aware, this year, we did prepare an extra 5,000 tons of gravel for the city of Sioux City. Their costs have been rising on their aggregate. We were in the process of producing out of our pit. It's called the Railroad Pit north of Correctionville. We put up an extra 5,000 tons for them that they're going to be starting to haul over the next couple of weeks. We were able to get it for $5.59 a ton, plus whatever it takes them to get it back to Sioux City. They're figuring that's going to be quite a bit cheaper than almost 15 per ton they were paying before. So they're also exploring whether we can get any sand produced. The initial sand quote was higher than I thought it should have been. We're going to see if we can supply them some out of our stockpile.
Don't we have a ton of sand over Correctionville?
Not that meets our snow removal spec any longer. We require 100% passing the 3/8 inch sieve. Anything bigger than that is a windshield breaker.
Okay.
That was waste sand that we had at Correctionville pile that we've been trying to get rid of. Some of it's going to the beach. We're also looking at selling some additional fill material to Ames Construction of Minnesota, who's doing construction on Highway 20. We're into an area in that pit where we're not productive for gravel production any longer. We're getting about 50% waste, but produced for a select fill for the Highway 20 project, it'll be the 25% gravel that they're going to be left behind will be a bonus to us. They're going to be taking out the sand material and allowing us to hopefully complete our attempts at getting a better lake out there for a fishery for conservation. So that'll be occurring in the spring of 2018. There's a contract going to be coming to the board for approval on that, but it's something we've been working on with Ames Construction because we are a nice close source. And again, our goal isn't profit. Our goal is to get a better recreational facility when we're done.
And get rid of the
Bonus
sand
is
for
gonna
free.
be some gravel, so.
They paying for it, or?
It depends. If we can get, I would credit them every ton of gravel we get toward the $1 per ton fill we're providing. That's what we've been providing that waste sand for, is $1 per ton, because it's basically just an unclassified fill. They're going to be producing it, pulling out the gravel end of that, leaving it in a stockpile for us. So if we put up 1,000 tons of gravel at $5.59 a ton, which is what it would cost us to have somebody come in and produce it for us, that would offset the $1 per ton they're getting for the unclassified fill. And to me, it's kind of a one hand washes the other in this deal. It's inexpensive for them, saves the state money, and produces some aggregate for us and has the bonus of giving conservation a better fishery there. So that's what we're working as we're in the closing stages of the use of that Peters pit.
Good. Any questions, thoughts for Dennis? All right, keep them up. Keep the ideas going. Find out citywide levies we can use. Since they have ideas for countywide levies. Yeah. Item 14 from the Board of Supervisors, Jeremy Taylor, is authorization to allow Woodbury County to engage Rolling Hills Region in negotiations.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. The summary here is that Woodbury County should seek authorization to engage in discussions and negotiations in order to seek the best fit of regional entity by which we can best deliver mental health services. That's really at the core of this motion. During the October 3rd meeting, as you know, by a majority vote, we voted to withdraw from the region. What my ask of everyone today is whether that was the, in particular, vote of each supervisor. We're now here where we're at. And so what I simply ask with this motion is that we would be authorizing the liaisons to the region currently, which would be myself and Supervisor Raddig, to engage with Rolling Hills region and any other region, which by virtue of our geographic location would be one other. And so I think that that's where we need to turn, given our current needs, finances, and services, and how we can best do this in a spirit of collaborative cooperation and compromise. I'm appreciative of Rolling Hills region and that they state by this letter that they want to make sure it's not just an outlier supervisor, who's approaching them, that this is the will of the board. And they've also stated, I think in a very professional and reasonable way, some of the criteria that they have as follows. And so, first off, that we vote to enter into discussion, that their current 2080 agreement be enforced, which we would expect nothing otherwise. And the majority of their member counties would have to approve any change of membership. One county, one vote per the 2080 agreement, and that their county governance board, or the regional governance board and administration, determine staffing needs, personnel, and salaries, and that we give them our current financials, current services, and that their basic philosophy be upheld. That is, that they are a region and they want long-term sustainability. And that phrase sounds really good to me, long-term sustainability. So that is the motion before you tonight. And with that, I would move that motion.
You want to restate that for the auditor?
Sure. So the motion would be to approve Woodbury County's Board of Supervisors liaisons, Supervisor Taylor and Raddig, to enter into discussions with the CEO and representatives of Rolling Hills region and any other region as well.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Raddig. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Passes 4-0. Good luck, you two.
And we will report back and give you updates along the way.
Very good. Item 15 is the chairman's report, which includes item A, presentation of our board resolution to support Siouxland soldiers on October 4th. I did, and as you know, did that October 4th as part of the Operation Warming Hearts event. Went very well. A lot of good education and community support there for our veterans. As I was walking out, I was called over to a table by a couple of very interested people. Didn't introduce themselves. One of them said, "Excuse me, if I want to sue the county, who do I give the papers to?" So it was kind of went from honoring veterans to saying, "Yeah, me, the board, county attorney, whatever you want."
trouble just follows you, Mr. Chair?
It does. It does. It just thought they were going to say great speech or nice to see you, but that's the way it is. Item B is the Danbury Town Hall meeting. 4 of us attended October 4th. I have to say Danbury is just a wonderful town. They're always so welcoming and friendly. We had regional updates from our county engineer and conservation director, and had some good dialogue, some good feedback. Any other comments?
I think there were over 50 in attendance, and I think it's probably one of the most satisfying and important things that we do in getting out to those rural areas and showing that presence and hearing not only what we're doing well, but what we're not doing so well and what the needs are, whether it's on some road project that they just simply want more information on. Really appreciate our county engineer being there and helping in that way, and just some good feedback. So very enjoyable. So appreciate your setting that up. And just a quick question for the future: anything on the horizon as far as 2 to 3 months or quarterly or however we're?
Yeah, of course, with the December timeframe, we deal with the potential for inclement weather. So my thought process is beginning of December, we can look at a easier to access town hall meeting, perhaps Salix or Sloan area. That area of the county hasn't been seen by the board this year, so that'd be my intention.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments there? Then item C is Simcoe Regional Policy and Legislative Affairs Committee. I attended October 5th. The main action item there was that there'll be a Simcoe Legislative Forum, which will be held December 1st at Western Iowa Tech, and will be roughly an hour long, and we'll simply have Simcoe staff give updates and give policy statements and get some feedback from the legislators instead of opening it up to community discussion, which in their experience, they say makes the meeting last much longer than 1 hour. Those are my updates. Item 16 is reports on committee meetings. Yep.
Sure. Siouxland District Health last week on Wednesday. I continue to hear about the good work that they do, not only with immunizations and making sure that they are proactive in identifying within our school systems, but also the work that they do regarding healthy lifestyles and the Lawton trails and the different assistance that they provide there. They do have 4 CIP projects that they voted, and we voted as a board to bring to the county board. And I explained to them once again our process is going to be looking at them in the whole, because they certainly have their needs, but then we've got to step back and look at them in comparison to the law enforcement center and courthouse and all of our buildings. So I've told them that we'd go through that process. One of the questions that was asked, and this is another committee meeting, but the Health and Wellness Committee, you're going to see a lot of not only the minutes, but the backup material that we went over on Naturally Slim and so on. We talked about the health insurance fund, and it's something that Siouxland District Health wants to know as far as a number. As you remember last year, our HR director said 11 to 12% increase is what you're going to need. We resisted his approach, which was to help us to plan for the future, and we went with 8%. That has gone from one claim away from bankruptcy to solvency at the tune of about $2.9 million, which is very, very good. So what does that mean for next year? What kind of increase are we going to be looking at? Well, it ain't going to be 8%, which is good. Right now we've told maybe 4 to 5% can be plugged in for budgeting purposes, but maybe it will even be less. We don't know. So just akin to what we did last year, we'll be looking to our HR director, our planning, and as much data as we can garner before we settle on a number. So I just thought that was an important thing to share as well.
Good. Any other reports? Then item 17, any citizen concerns?
This is the report on the Renaissance Festival?
That wasn't my plan.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
I was just going to let the board know that we've got 150th Street east of Delaware, between Delaware and Eastland, closed right now. Last couple of days, we've noted a shift in the road embankment. We've got a widening crack down the center line. 96 years that road didn't go anywhere. We put a new surface on it. Now we have a big crack, but we're trying to see what the best repair methodology is going to be. But overnight it moved about an inch horizontal and 2 inches vertical toward the north ditch. So that's not a good sign when a road's moving that fast. I think the biggest contributor is the water. Last week in 48 hours we had over 3.5 inches of rain, and that was following several other rains. Our one last thing too, since I didn't get my board report done with going out and checking the road today, we're pouring the deck on the old 141 bridge tomorrow. We lost 4 or 5 days, working days last week, and 3 of 5 the week before that. So now we're a little bit behind schedule. So we're probably pushing back toward the first week of November for an opener. So you'd all be aware of that. Thank you.
So while you're there,
Back to you.
so on that 15,000 gallons of the MC 800, what's the coverage on that square yard wise? Is that like for 2 coats total, or are you talking like
That's
4
for 2 coats total.
Okay.
The first one goes down about 38 hundredths of a gallon per square yard. I think the second one goes down about 3/10 of a gallon per square yard. The first shot is the 1/2 inch quartzite aggregate. The second time through, we use the 3/8 quartzite.
And then, are we doing that this year yet?
Yes. That's why we used MC 800, and usually we'd use an MC 3000. But since we're getting toward fall, we don't want,
Because I know
the
normally
MC
you would.
3000 takes a lot longer to cure out, and the MC 800 is a better choice for the fall material. And they're both better than the polymer emulsions, like a C, let's see, it would be a CRS1 or a CRS2P, which are a rapid set emulsion. I prefer the cutback asphalts like the MC 800 and MC 3000.
Is there an actual, I mean, I know a lot of them would say you got to have like continuous weather 60 degrees for chip sealing. Is that going to be a problem
We look
for
45
longevity?
for it,
Okay.
so I think we should be all right. The extended forecast has us into the 60s yet, so.
Okay.
I mean, if we have to, we go into winter with maybe just a single seal and then put the second one on in the spring if we have to make an adjustment.
Okay.
But we would at least like to get one on to get that surface weather tight and prevent our base from.
Have they gone through and ground it up already, or?
No, that contractor is scheduled to move in next week, and then the seal coat contractor will follow.
Okay.
Other questions?
That's it.
Thank you.
Any other citizen concerns? Any board concerns?
Still thinking, Mr. Chair, on a way to bridge our gap for the United Way. So I may put forward another idea next meeting involving all the supervisors and the sheriff's office and a taser. But I will let you know whose bucket gets full the fastest.
Only if
and-
I'm on the trigger, I'm not getting tased again.
Okay. Well, we all take one for the team, so I'll let you know about my idea.
All right, well, majority rules, so the board is free to volunteer me for whatever they want, I suppose.
That'll curl your hair.
Hey,
Any other board concerns? We are adjourned. Thank you.